Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're exploring a place that's just steeped in legend, philosophy, and forgotten history. Tilla Jogian, the Hill of the Yogis. And believe it or not, its story doesn't start with a king or a conqueror. It starts with a broken heart.
And this quote, it really gets to the heart of it all. Our story kicks off with one of Punjab's most famous epic poems, Heer-Ranjha, a tale of this passionate, all-consuming love. And it's that emotional core, that universal search for truth that starts with heartbreak, that makes Tilla Jogian so much more than just a spot on a map.
So at this mystical place, the heartbroken lover, Ranjha, goes through this incredible spiritual metamorphosis. He's totally disillusioned, feeling lost, and he ends up on this hill and makes a choice. He decides to renounce his old self, all his worldly attachments, and he transforms that intense love for one person into a universal divine quest. So what is this place? What is it about this hill that can turn a lover into a saint?
Okay, let's dive into that. Let's get into the identity of Tilla Jogian itself. What is this hill, and who were these yogis that gave it its name?
Well, geographically, the name pretty much tells the whole story. Tilla means hill, and Jogian, well, that refers to the yogis. It's this peak rising over 3,000 feet in Pakistan's Salt Range, and its remote, secluded spot made it the absolute perfect sanctuary for spiritual seekers looking to just get away from the world and meditate.
So, who were these Jogis exactly? Well, they were followers of a tradition founded by the legendary Saint Gorakhnath, and these guys were serious. They were ascetics, which means they renounced worldly life to chase enlightenment through some pretty intense self-discipline and meditation. They were trying to see past all the illusions of everyday life to find a higher truth.
And let me tell you, this was not a new thing. This hill has been a spiritual magnet for centuries. I mean, from the earliest days with Buddhist and Hindu ascetics to becoming this major hub for the Nath Yogis, Tilla Jogian just kept evolving. It even became a big deal during the Mughal era. But, as you can see from that timeline, its story takes a very sharp, very sudden turn after 1947.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Tilla Jogian wasn't just for one group. Over the centuries, it became this unique spiritual melting pot, a place where totally different paths to the divine actually found some common ground. Check this out. The Nath Yogis' focus on inner truth found these really deep parallels in the Sufi path. Now, the language was different, right? Union with Brahman versus proximity to Allah, but the core ideas incredibly similar. It was all about self-purification, having a spiritual guide, and transcending your own ego. They basically developed this shared language of devotion that went way beyond religious boundaries. And it got to the point where great Sufi poets like Shah actually adopted the jogi as a symbol. In this famous line, he isn't talking about physical yoga poses. He's totally reinterpreting it as this powerful metaphor for the soul's passionate, desperate search for God, who he calls the beloved. The jogi became this shared symbol for anyone on a spiritual journey. But this thriving sanctuary, this incredible crossroads of faith, where yogis and Sufis were speaking a common language, well, it was about to face a dramatic and really tragic turning point. A single event was about to bring centuries of the spiritual tradition to a screeching halt.
And that event has a number, 1947. The partition of the Indian subcontinent. That was the decisive break, a single year that just changed everything for Tilla Jogian.
You have to picture it. Before that year, everything we read from colonial-era accounts and local histories describes a place that was alive. It was a vibrant, active spiritual center. This was the beating heart of a living tradition, with huge annual fairs, ceremonies, and a constant flow of pilgrims and ascetics. But today, the reality is just stark. Recent reports paint this bleak picture of decay. You have collapsed domes, cracked walls, courtyards totally overgrown, an ancient pond just filled with silt. The physical ruins you see today, they're a perfect mirror of a fading memory of what this place used to be. So what happened? How did it get to this point? It was basically a devastating combination of things. First, the partition caused this massive demographic shift. The communities that had been the caretakers of the site for centuries were just gone. That led to administrative neglect. It fell off everyone's radar. Then you had modern development, farming, and quarrying creeping closer and closer. And maybe the saddest part of all, a kind of cultural amnesia set in. The chain of teachers and students was broken, and the rituals and traditions just went silent.
So is that it? Is that the end of the story? Just a slow fade into complete ruin? Or could there actually be a future for this forgotten hill?
The thing is, Tilla Joggian's value goes so far beyond its ruins. It's a powerful symbol of a shared pluralistic heritage. It's a symbolic bridge connecting India and Pakistan, a physical reminder of a common past. It stands for a time when different spiritual paths came together, and it has incredible potential for tourism and research today.
So what would a path forward even look like? Well, it starts with documenting what's left, using all the modern technology we have, like 3D imaging. Then it's about careful restoration. The goal is to stabilize the structures, not erase the history written on them. And finally, it's about opening the doors through sustainable tourism and encouraging scholars from both India and Pakistan to collaborate and bring its amazing story back to life. Ultimately, preserving this site isn't just about saving old stones. In a world that can feel more and more divided, a place like Tilla Jogian is this powerful, tangible reminder of a history of coexistence, of tolerance, and of a shared human search for truth. And that really leaves us with this final, powerful question. Can we look at these ruins and see not just an ending, but a lesson for the future? Can a forgotten hill actually remind us of a past we all share, and maybe, just maybe, inspire a more tolerant future? What do you think? Thanks for joining us for this explainer.